You'd think that the easiest way to save money is by earning more of it, but that's not always the case, as with bigger incomes, you sometimes get lifestyle inflation, more designer coffees, pricier purchases, and a false sense of security from a bigger paycheck. This channel is all about earning more money, but we need to get off the low income hamster wheel by cutting out all unnecessary spending. That'll give us more time and more money to focus on the bigger picture. Plus, it'll also set us up for more success as our income increases over the coming years. In this video, we'll first look at the biggest expenses and see how we can sort those out. And if you don't mind, stretch your finger and crush that like button so that more people might get to see this video. What are you saving for? Personally, I'd first focus on setting aside an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of monthly expenses, especially given recent history. After that, I'd aim to max out my IRA, or if you're in the UK, your ISA, unless I was saving for a down payment for a house. If you're interested in investing, I've made a whole bunch of videos on that already. I'll pop a playlist down in the description as well as up in the cards. Your rent or mortgage are probably your biggest money pit, so if we can address this, then you'll have loads of money left over every month. There have been times in London where I was spending over 80% of my salary on rent. Everything that's happened since 2020 also meant that my travel business was put on pause and I had to go on unemployment. And if I hadn't sorted out the rent situation, life would have been so much more difficult. I made a video about how much I spend in a week whilst on unemployment. I'll link that up in the cards and in the description down below. I'll also link to some videos about how I live rent-free in a big city, but essentially you need to house hack, you need to rent hack, you need to garage hack, you need to just try and minimize that huge housing expense that is crippling your income. In a nutshell, that can be as easy as taking in a roommate, taking in a housemate, renting out your garage to your neighbor who might need it for their second car or for storage. Well, you might say, okay, where are you gonna park your car? Well, depending on the area you live in, you might just be able to park it pretty safely on the street. After housing, transport might be the next big expense that we need to tackle. So, first question, do you live in a place that requires you to have a car? Some cities, some towns don't have very good public transport systems, and they kind of make it impossible for you to get around easily, maybe even get to work easily without having transportation of your own. So let's say you do need a car. Okay, are you going to get a new car? Are you going to get a new car using financing? That means you are paying the car company a bit of interest every single month for something that depreciates in value. The car becomes less valuable over time and you're paying more money for the privilege of owning it. If I had to get a car, I would get an older model because the trope is true. The day you drive the car out of the car dealership is the day that it loses the most value. Now, if you want me to do a video about how much car you can afford, let me know down in the comments. If you do live somewhere where you don't need your own car to get around and public transport is fine, then also consider whether you can swap public transport for a bike or whether you can walk to work, walk to the grocery store. Walking around might not be as fun as driving a brand new Tesla, but it will allow you to avoid those car payments and potentially be in a better place to buy a car a few years from now. You need to eat, but do you need Uber Eats? You need to eat fruit, but do you need to eat the very expensive, although very convenient cut up fruit? If we were earning more, then it might make sense to spend more money on things that make life easier, that save you time.
But until then, we need to cut up our own fruit.
On a lower income, we can't let ourselves get sucked into trends and advertising hype. Do we really need the latest iPhone? Do we need the latest game console? PS5? If you did need an upgrade because your phone is on death's door, sure, upgrade, but upgrade to a second-hand newer model. And make sure you sell your old one. You can sell it on eBay, there's lots of sites, Facebook Marketplace. Make sure you get a return on your previous phone. I've sold my old phones that didn't even work because companies buy old phones that don't work because they can maybe use some magic to get them working again or salvage them for parts. It's a sad fact that companies don't always take care of their longer standing customers. So this is what we're gonna do. Do a little online research to see if it would be cheaper to switch your mobile phone provider, cheaper to switch your utilities provider. Armed with these numbers, you can call up your current provider and ask them politely if they are willing to price match the competitor's price. More often than not, they're gonna say yes, because it actually costs companies a lot of money to get a new customer. So they'd much rather have you stay on because they don't have that cost of new customer acquisition. Let's quickly talk about earning more money, because if you have the right mindset and you don't let that lifestyle inflation creep in, you'll be able to put more of that earned money aside for saving, for emergency funds, for investing, for a deposit for a house. I've made a bunch of videos about jobs you can do working from home, so I'll link to those down in the description as well. But really simply, if you need a car to get to work, you can use that car for your side hustle. You can either rent that car out to other people, kind of like the Airbnb for cars. There's a whole bunch of companies that do that. You can use the car to drive for Uber a few hours a week, and you can even couple that and drive for a food delivery place. You can do food delivery during the peak hours, maybe at lunchtime, weekends, dinners, and in between lunchtime and dinners, you can do a bit of Uber driving and maximize your revenue. Once you've optimized your big purchases, you can hone in on the little ones. Making and sticking to a budget is a great idea because you'll figure out things that you didn't even know you were spending money on. Why would I go out and buy a new scarf when I have a perfectly good tablecloth that I can use instead? Air dry your clothes on a drying rack instead of using the dryer. You'll be saving on electricity. Use shopping lists and stick to them when going to the supermarket, or even do your grocery shopping online and have the groceries delivered. When doing your grocery shopping online, most sites will allow you to set a recurring order, and that means there'll be less temptation
to give into the upsells.
You can do your grocery shopping with something like Amazon Fresh, so I'll link to a trial for that down in the description too. Order staples like rice and pulses in bulk, and when you cook them, batch cook them, portion them out, and freeze them. Not only will doing this save you a whole bunch of time, it'll save you a whole bunch of money, and it will reduce waste a lot. It's also great to have those at the ready, because that means if you are hungry and you don't have time, or you're not feeling in the mood to do any cooking, you don't resort to something like Uber Eats or going to McDonald's. As a general rule, that which has been processed is more expensive. Oats are cheaper than Cocoa Pops. Carrots are cheaper than carrot sticks. Water is cheaper than Coca-Cola, and crushing the like button is totally free. Now, the closest thing I can do to giving you free money is to tell you about the Webull link down in the description. You can click it and get 2 free stocks. Totally free money right over there. And if this video was helpful, interesting, inspiring in any way, make sure you club the sub button, because that's what this channel is all about. It is all about my hustles, how to make more money, everything I learn and fail at along the way, and I share it right here with you. So make sure you watch these videos next. I'll see you in there. Let's hustle together.